Hi there. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than
G'day Tiger fans and welcome to a huge edition of Talking Tigers today, Richmond's live official podcast. Well, it's just over 50 hours now until the Tigers take on the Cats in the qualifying final at the MCG in front of a loud full house. Gee, there's going to be a lot of people there. Oh boy, as a mate of mine would say, we cannot wait. On today's show, we're going to talk about Dusty, of course. He has re-signed for 7 years. I'm not sure if everyone's heard that, but he has re-signed. How good is that? Everyone is so pumped to have Dusty back on board. Rancy, All-Australian captain. What an achievement for Rancy. 4 magnificent years. He thoroughly deserved that. Lou, he's coming along with all the news from a great VFL finals win down at Port Melbourne on Saturday arvo. The boys did really well to win that one. And Mark Zanotti has contacted me. He has had enough. He has officially had enough of the Chiefs' desire to reform trial by video, and we will talk about that today as well. Lads, welcome. What a big week it is.
Well, look, it's fantastic, and can I just say off the top, that was not the song that we had when we did rehearsal.
That's Peter Grove.
But
Peter
when we had
Gabriel big
rehearsal yesterday, that wasn't the song. Sconnors, can you go with the song?
We'll show her the dress that she'll wear with the gold flowing hair that nature provided. A little ray of sunshine.
Yes, of course, Maddie. Congratulations. Little Zoe Isabella came into the world on Saturday morning. So congratulations
Thanks,
to you
mate.
and Jen. To you and Jen, we're just absolutely thrilled. The TT team is absolutely thrilled for you both.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks very much. And who was that? Axiom?
Axiom, Little Rose Sunshine, an absolute classic. Obviously, if you have a little girl, it's
No,
it's
it was fantastic. And what about the timing?
Yeah,
the only
perfect.
weekend off I've had since March, and
it's just well done
yeah,
to Jen because she's
yeah.
timed it to perfection.
well done to Jen.
So it
and,
all went well. Everything went well.
Yeah,
You got the car park all right.
Yeah,
all that was
did all that.
organised?
I did everything I needed to do, which was nothing. No, Jen did everything, and Zoe's at home now and going beautifully.
Fantastic,
So
yeah,
And the
yeah.
sleep is
had zero.
banked.
Don't take much notice of any pattern there because it takes about 3 months or so for the pattern to form.
No,
Anyway.
it was fantastic, and
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm really happy. But we've got to talk about other things now today.
yeah,
But
okay.
thanks to all the Richmond
Awesome,
supporters and all the well wishers, because I have had a lot of support, I guess, over the social media, and
No, we're thrilled,
we thank
thrilled
it.
for
But other things to talk about now, Tone.
Okay,
All right.
fantastic.
Okay. Were you happy Dusty re-signed? Finally? We got there?
Well, I'm hardly going to say no. I was like every Richmond supporter, just over the moon that he signed, of course, and it was it was agonising, wasn't it? I think, it was just, it was a tough time, I guess, for all Richmond supporters who were desperately hoping he was going to stay. So when the news came through, obviously we're over the moon that he's staying.
Yeah, it was great, and a bit like what you went through on the weekend, Richo. The Richmond supporters got right around Dusty's re-signing, as you would expect, and what did it wrap up last Thursday?
Thursday,
did a bit of media on Friday, but after that, then it's fully focused on Geelong this week, and the timing of it was pretty good as well.
I must say how well he spoke. I mean,
It was brilliant.
I thought, he was obviously spoke on the footy show. That was part of the, obviously some deal that they had, which is fine. And I thought he was outstanding the way he spoke.
Yeah, I loved it when he said, "This is my family, this is home, and Tigerland is home for me." And 7 more years, so he will probably retire. One of the all-time greats of the club.
Tiger for life.
Yeah.
And the role that Shane played in it as well was exceptional. The way he spoke from the heart, and
Jeez, did he ever?
And whatever they spoke about in New Zealand last week, it was for the club.
Yeah,
and the loyalty, it was
very
exceptional, and I'm sure every Richmond fan appreciates that.
It was very emotional watching Shane talk about,
it
about
was.
his boy. Yeah, so
and he's won every media award basically, hasn't he, Dusty?
Except for the age, I think. Yeah.
How did he not win the age?
They're just different at the age. They just look at different things. I'm not sure what they actually look at, but anyway, it was outstanding. Won the coaches award, which is a very prestigious award, of course.
I think that's the one the players like to win the most.
Well, obviously coaches know exactly the sort of role, and I guess the rival coaches on the day know the influence that a opposition player has. So yeah, it's great.
And JB, was it the record amount of votes in the Coaches Awards?
I think so, and even record best on grounds as well
Yeah.
during the season. And he beat Dangerfield by 4 votes, I think it was, and had to do it in the last round. So the round 22 and 23 went, in-house.
Yeah.
So all the yellow and blackers that you banked over those 2 weeks that we'll never know of.
Yes.
I don't think they came right, but anyway.
I haven't had a yellow and blacker for about 3 months. I
No,
don't
we know that. So obviously, now we await, of course, in a few
The
weeks.
Brownlow.
But the Brownlow.
It's all about Friday night, though. And we're going to talk. We'll talk about the game in a bit more depth later on. That's for sure. I just want to give a cheerio. We just saw Johnny Nix downstairs. A great,
great.
Tiger.
Johnny was reserves coach, premiership coach in reserves, and Tommy's assistant, and fantastic bloke, Johnny, and he's a beauty. Yeah.
Yeah, he's here to pick up his tickets, so it was good to see Johnny here. So I guess the other good news that we've had since our last Talking Tigers was Alex Rance was named captain of the All-Australian team. It's a great recognition of 4 years of unbelievable form. He's the only player in that team that's been All-Australian the last 4 years.
Absolutely, and thoroughly deserved. And I just found it a bit bemusing that a few people were actually critical of that. I just can't believe that. Why would you criticise that? I just
I'm not
find
too
it
sure.
staggering.
I'm not too sure.
People go, "Oh, he's not a club captain." Joel
He's
Selwood,
vice captain, though.
Joel Selwood's in the team, and he's the but it's not about that.
No,
it
it's
was
not.
about recognising his contribution over 4 years, and he is a leader.
I don't think anyone could question his leadership qualities, could they?
The way he plays, you couldn't show any more leadership in the way he plays.
So
Some people just want to be negative no
they
matter
do.
what, and
They
I
do.
couldn't believe that. So well done, Rancy.
No, it's excellent.
Absolutely
And
brilliant.
obviously Dusty in there too. So.
Yeah, Dusty was in the team as well.
2 years in a row, so
clearly.
that's great. Yeah. And the other award, or in line for an award, is, of course, Daniel Rioli with the goal of the year, JB.
Well, it's strange. I think post round 3, or maybe it was the goal was in round 3, but when they decided...
It was nominated.
It was nominated for that week, but I don't even think it won the weekly award. Mark Murphy against Essendon in the rain.
Should have won it.
So I think we had a fair bit on around that time, and Carlton led a bit of a campaign to try and get Mark over the line, and they did, but the sanity has prevailed because...
Excellent.
I think what happens there, JB, is that at the end of the year, before they put the 3 out there, the 3 nominations, they actually go back and have a look through. And I think the AFL media people at AFL House then give you 3 more that maybe should have won.
Okay.
And I think they thought Rioli probably should have won that round. So duly it was thrown in there as one of the choices, and it's now been nominated. Who were the other ones?
Eddie Betts and Buddy Franklin as well. So an all-star cast, and I think it's goaloftheyear.afl if you want to vote.
I voted yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Excellent.
You've got not much else to do.
No, I was Zoe was having a little kip, so
Good. So you make the most of
So
it.
yeah, if you want to vote for Daniel for goal of the year, get along and do that.
It was a ripping goal. Ripping goal.
I think it will win. It's the best goal. Buddy's was pretty good, but geez, Daniel's
He
was
was in
pretty good.
3 separate contests to kick that goal.
And a banana from 45 out on the boundary. Degree of difficulty was
No, for sure.
harder than Bud's, but it's hard not to like his either, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
You've got mail.
We'll start with the stump greeners here.
Oh,
Oh, hang on.
all right.
Yeah, this is from Brock Heaney.
Oh, Sconzy, you got a little call over there. That's Lou. Lou's calling into Scotty over there. All right.
Who kicked the first goal of our home and away season this year? You're not great with the current...
No, I'm not great with current stuff. First goal.
It was at the 2 minute and 46 second mark of the season for us.
Do you know?
Do you know?
I think I do, but I'm going to give you some time to maybe think back.
Okay.
I'll think back.
Surely you can get that.
Oh, why? Well, it's too recent. I only go back about 40 years.
pre-69, isn't it?
Yeah, no, pre-82.
Gee, have they come for the emails? Send a shout out to the great Tiger JD. Emailed in from Prague.
Yes.
So
Prague?
G'day to
Yeah,
Tiger
JD,
JD.
yeah,
Yep. We got another one here. G'day fellas. Just want to let you know that I tuned into the show from Bergen, Norway. That was last week.
That's a first.
Norway.
Well, it gets better, it gets higher. The energy in the show makes me wish I was back home at the G next week. So I received this last week when we hopefully get revenge on the Cats. Next week, as in today, I will tune in from North Cape, Norway, which is well above the Arctic Circle.
Gee, it'd be chilly there.
Oh, would it ever?
Yep,
Like
so that
Melbourne.
might be the most northerly we've ever got. That was from Beery, so thanks for that, Beery. Hi, guys, loving the show. I've just finished getting married in Kosovo.
See, I'm not surprised anymore. This show has
extraordinary.
reached every corner of the globe now.
We have massive pull.
And when the wife is not around, I've been sneaking on TT over the past month.
Well,
when
it's not
I
like
can.
porn. Is it like porn?
Tone, don't.
No, well,
You're a bit loose today.
sorry.
You
I don't
don't
know why
talk.
you have to sneak around doing
Don't
this.
say another word
That
until
is
he
from,
okay,
reaches
that's
sorry,
from Josh
sorry,
O'Kettle.
sorry.
G'day from Calgary, Canada. Avid listener of the show. Big fan of the Yellow and Black Book specials.
Yes.
Booked the week off work just before the grand final in case we make it. That's from Matty Shraven. And finally, and this was an old one from Chris Hatsi-Stavru. Hopefully I got that correct. He was listening to the podcast sitting in the Richmond Hotel in Kagoshima, Japan.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and he also added that Chief Watch is rating well in Fukuoka.
Oh, we'll keep. I'll tell you.
I hope, did you actually pronounce that correctly?
I
Did you?
went on the safer side of the pronunciation.
Very
that one.
good.
What about a
Very
few
good.
tweets?
Yeah, we got a
JP?
few tweets. Tiger Lynn has tweeted. This is how big club news is. Tiger Lynn's going a bit of club news herself. This was from just before. She went through the Richmond Museum, hadn't been in a few years. It'll be open before the game this Friday and well worth a look, Tiger people, so get along.
Tiger Lynn stealing your news.
Yeah, well, it's that popular. The Tale's written in he's got a poem for us. So
Yeah?
I hope I do it justice. Roses are red, violets are blue. My question to the Tigers is why can't it be you?
Very good.
Yes. That was you.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Jeremy Wells at Jez_Wells. He's flying from Kangaroo Island on Friday to Melbourne. Just so excited for the AFL and VFL double header for his
Yes.
weekend away. Here's one from Retrospective. Rhett Bartlett. He's much respect to William and Kate in holding off the announcement of their third child for you to have your first child there,
that's
Richo.
a good point.
Oh, I
That's a good
touched
point.
base with Wills the other night.
Very good. Just while you mentioned Red, he just sent me a email before that it's 48 years to the day that we beat Geelong in the 1969 first semi-final by 118 points. The last time we beat them in a final at the G.
Okay.
There you go.
Have we played them in a final since? Yeah.
Yeah,
we 1980. Did we play them then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we did.
also 95.
Oh, of course we did.
95
Out of
at
Waverley.
Waverley, yeah.
I've erased that from my memory,
Yeah,
95.
Me too.
This one was for you earlier in the week from Brendan Fisher. He's saying, is Lou Gillette going to step up into the big chair if you're off stuck on parenting duties, Richo?
Now, I did see that, JB. I was sitting in the hotel room because they send you to a hotel if everything's okay. So I did notice that. So I made a quick call to Scones.
Yeah, and said over my dead body.
Because I couldn't get in yesterday because we had some medical appointments.
Yeah.
So I rang Scones. I said, mate, Lou thinks he's hosting on Tuesday. And Scones said, hey, we'll do it on Wednesday then.
Yep.
So I fired
it's
one back at Lou.
Like another former employee here that was always trying to get on and TT, but that never happened, thankfully.
We got another. Well, this was from 6 days ago. This is from James Bombacci.
Bombachi.
I can confirm.
Or was it Bombachi?
Oh, it could be Bombacci.
Bombachi, yeah.
Anyway, you'll like this. It's I can confirm it was me on the train on Friday night.
Is this the guy that hassled you on the train?
No, he didn't hassle me. He came and said, "G'day."
He stalked you.
Josh is becoming the new man of the people.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I don't
I
like
had
people,
to,
so it would never
I
be
had to throw
me.
in that. And finally, just
Incidentally, if you see me on the train on Friday night, can you just give me a bit of space? Anyone, all right?
no, I don't think that. I'd
Please.
encourage you to go and speak to Tony.
God.
And anyway, one more before a segue into the Chief Watch. This is from Ash Rodriguez. He said, "Good to see the Chief getting his name in the spotlight after Dusty's announcement. No, we don't want to see him in the nude."
yes,
Wow.
exactly. So that'll lead in beautifully, JB.
Yes.
Little segue from JB.
It's working. He's crisp. Been very crisp. He at the business end of the season, he's risen.
I don't like the longer shows.
You've had a big week, JB.
It's not
But
about,
not
it's
as
not
big as
about
you.
me.
No, it's not about you. It's about the 22 that run out Friday night and Dimmer, the coach and the assistant coaches.
And the CEO.
But the CEO doesn't know that.
Oh,
He thinks it's all about him this week. And he went on open mic on last Wednesday night.
he actually paid to go on.
He rang Mike Sheehan
and paid Mike
and said,
to go on.
I'm coming on open mic. And Mike didn't know what to say. No one's ever rung him before and asked to come on.
Or offered to pay
Yeah,
him.
so he went on and he had this to say on open mic.
You're a man in many parts, aren't you? You're an ex-player, you're an administrator, you're a lawyer, and you're a one-time rock star. No, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You were in a band called Trial by Video.
Yes.
You played at the opening of the World Police Games.
Yes, we did, at the MCG, in front of about 50,000 people. We also had a 6-week residency at the tunnel for those, that goes on a
Really?
Sunday night, yeah. So I thought, bugger this, I'm bored, I'm going to teach myself guitar, and I did. And so off the back of that, we got booked. There was a lot of interest. And they said, can you play here, and we ended up in the MCG.
So how long
and
did
I'll
you
tell
last?
you, Mike, at that stage, only 4 bands had played on the MCG, and it was U2, Paul McCartney and Wings, Madonna, and Trial by Video. And that's a fact.
You want to put him in order of quality?
And Mark Sinotti might have been lighting up a spliff about half an hour before at the World Foreign Police Games, mind you.
He might have gone through his life doing that.
He did. I think he might have.
So
The Rolling Stones played there too. I think he's forgotten there. But
he
anyway,
did forget. So, off the back of this,
extraordinary.
I had a phone call Thursday last week, and it was Mark Zanotti,
So not
and he
from
is
Borneo.
filthy,
Yeah.
and he had 2 things to say, Zanotti. One, give up on the reformation, sorry. Give up on that. It's not going to happen. Zanotti wants me to tell Brendan to stop calling him. We are not going to reform Trial by Video. So you can put that to bed.
Okay.
Okay, and the other thing is he's got his lawyers, and you know who.
Martin, Barton, and Fargo. Yeah,
They have contacted Brendan
enough
for
too.
defamation
of course.
because he.
Can't go around accusing
You
people
can't
of
say
that.
people did
not
that.
this day and age. no.
Okay, so Brendan, never speak about Trial by Video again.
Jeez, he was happy to talk it up, wasn't he?
Yeah, you're dead and buried. Now, the other thing that Ash Rodriguez brought up
He did.
about the nude announcement on Dusty. Let's just have another listen to the Chief.
To be perfectly honest, I could make the announcement nude. Our fans wouldn't care. So I think that says enough.
Well, they would care.
I reckon they might.
The last thing our fans want is to see you nude, Brendan. And just to back it up, I gave Troy Casadale's kids a call.
That'd put it. Wouldn't that put
And
them
I
off their
asked,
sandwiches?
and I asked them what they thought about that, and they said they still haven't gotten over seeing him in his speedos.
Well,
They
then-
certainly don't want to see him nude.
Well, that'd put them off their club sandwich, wouldn't
Yeah, it would. So, Brendan, give up on the nude stuff as well, mate. We've all had enough.
I don't know if there'd be full occupancy at that presser. A bit light on. Club news.
Be asking himself questions, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Club news has petered out a bit this week. If you don't have your tickets, then I don't have much for you. But tomorrow, qualifying final open training session here at the Swinburne Centre at Punt Road. That's here tomorrow, Thursday. Gates open at 10 a.m. For a 10:30 a.m. start. If you do want to get priority access to finals tickets for weeks 2, hopefully we don't play week 2, but week 3, it's your last chance to become a 2018 member and receive priority access for those tickets. That ends tomorrow as well, Thursday at 5 p.m. It's a message from the MCG. This is important, club news. Trying to arrive early for the qualifying final. Security measures such as bag checks and patron scanning will be in place as fans make their way into the stadium. They recommend you arrive at 6:30 p.m. and try to limit the number of bags that you bring in. I'm not sure if you saw the Socceroos last night, but a lot of the fans missed the opening
Right.
kickoff, they
Yeah,
call it
kickoff,
there,
yeah.
yeah, because they didn't arrive early. So we encourage all fans to
That's been a
arrive
bit of
early.
That's been happening a bit at the big games at the G, hasn't it?
Yeah, well,
recently?
even
Yeah.
the one against St Kilda,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was a massive queues out the front, and that was on a Sunday afternoon. So you would think on a Friday night,
It'd
get
be
there
huge,
early,
yeah,
and
yeah.
finally we're offering the last chance for a lucky junior fan to run out with the team on Friday night. The competition closes tomorrow at midday. For all that and for all your big club news, head over to my baby. That's richmondfc.com.au/finals.
Did I say something about a Brownlow medal function or something?
Yeah, I mentioned that last week on
Yeah, you did.
the podcast.
Yeah, no, I just was wondering if you
that
want to
was,
mention it again.
I don't have it on my...
No, that's all right. That's
But
okay.
richmondcorporate.com.au for all the details on the
Okay.
Brownlow function, which will be here at the club.
Yep.
So, JB, there's no more tickets available, is that right? It's a full house.
Yeah, it's
Sold out.
Sold out. So I think a couple went on sale yesterday at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So the club access and some of the AFL members ones that didn't
Yeah.
sell, and they went in a
Okay.
couple of minutes. And last week I was on the show and then had to run off for the
Yeah.
general
Oh, yes,
pre-sale.
yes, that's
I
right.
got in a bit of trouble with Geelong by telling them to enter Richmond fans to enter their details in as Geelong and take their tickets.
Oh,
but
no.
whatever we have to do to get a full house of yellow and black.
Well, fair enough too.
We don't mind.
Take the
No,
tickets.
good on you.
So.
That's good.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm a bit sick of something.
Oh, what? Oh, I might be sick of the same thing.
Well, apart from the fact that the stuff about Rancy we mentioned before, being captain, people
All the
whinging
strange
and,
stuff,
and moaning about that, I reckon on the actual night when you announce the team, okay, it should be a celebration of the 22 players that have been picked.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay? Now, those players deserve to be picked, and yes, there are unlucky players. You could probably pick another 8 players that deserve to be in that 22, okay? And there are stiff players. We all know that. But I think on the night when they announce it, you should just celebrate the team that has been picked and not say who should have been in, because it sort of takes away from the players that have actually been picked.
I was bitterly disappointed in Fox Footy's coverage. Bitterly. I mean, why would you have a panel, basically, that was just dissecting everything and just being critical, while the All-Australian players are standing there?
Yeah.
How embarrassing is that, and how demeaning?
So you've
it absolutely demeans them and in their time when they can celebrate what they've achieved throughout the season.
So they're standing there trying to be recognised.
And they're picking it apart.
And they're saying, so-and-so should have been in the
just
team.
a really bad way of doing
Come
it.
on, I think moving forward,
really bad way of doing
I
it.
think we've got to just recognise the team on the night.
Yep,
and
be
then
positive about it.
And then on your panel shows for the rest of the week,
Yeah, whatever.
do what you want.
They
Not
will,
at the
they
time.
will anyway. So
Yeah, exactly. But not at the time.
Not-
It was really bad.
Not on the night. So
No, not good at all. Didn't like it one
had
bit.
enough about that. Anyway, that's we've got that off our chest, Tone.
Yeah, I feel better now.
Let's get on to the game. Friday night, going to be 95,000+ people there.
Yep.
And this is a huge game. And Sean Grigg spoke to the media, our mate Griggy, who can't be on today because he's got a lot on, obviously. He's got more important
The
things.
Spud Bar stuff.
He's got a Spud Bar general meeting. I think.
I think so, yeah.
the AGM.
I wonder how many dividends he'll get.
Jeez, yeah, it's interesting.
We
isn't
do have to ask him about what happened in Ballarat. But anyway, let's have a listen to Griggy.
We've seen Rancy go forward the last few weeks too, kick a couple of goals, and so you never know. But obviously he's a champion. Rancy, probably, if not the best, one of the best defenders in the league. So we'll back him in to play his way and play well for us.
Your record against Geelong, does it mean anything to you, the fact that you haven't been able to get over in recent times?
Oh, I don't think so. Yeah, we're a totally different team. In the last 13 times we've played, and so are they. So we probably don't buy into that one.
And you don't.
That's
It's
fair enough, yeah.
Totally different.
No, totally.
And actually, 3 of the last 4 games against Geelong have been decided by less than 10 points. So
Yeah, look, it's
we've been
just-
pretty competitive against them, haven't we?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And look, conditions will be interesting. Obviously, we think it's probably going to be a bit wet underfoot. So whether that helps us or not, I mean, they're used to. They've got big bodies. They're used to playing in those sort of conditions. But it suits us as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much of a difference that's going to make.
No, I don't think it is. The
no.
thing Griggy mentioned there, the Harry Taylor-Rance matchup, I think they'll probably try that again.
Well, so what happens then? What does Rancy do?
Well,
Does Rancy just go to whoever he wants to go to?
I think initially maybe see what happens, and then maybe Rance goes to Hawkins,
Yeah.
and then Asprey comes
Dave
over,
goes
to,
over
to Taylor.
Yep.
But I think it will happen. We spoke to Blake Carosella for our opposition analysis today at the club, and Blake thinks that it probably will happen.
Does that make them a bit big, top heavy up forward if that happens then? If it's wet underfoot too?
I guess they've got Buzzard down there, so it might depend. If it is wet, they might decide to go against that, because I'm assuming Buzzard will play. I think they're pretty happy with his form. So, that might be a question. If it is wet, do they go with the 3 tools?
Well, I think Chris Scott spoke before and said Cockatoo is still in the frame to play, and
They rate him enormously, don't they?
Yeah.
and Selwood and Parsons will 100% play. So be prepared for that. And also, he mentioned that Guthrie will probably go to Martin again and spend a fair bit of time on him, like they did a couple of weeks ago down in Cardinia Park. So a bit of predictability probably helps both teams, and we can prepare for that too.
The thing about the Taylor move is, I guess with our small forward line, they've got Henderson and Lonergan down there already. So, they're going to be taller, but that's their strength. They're probably one of the best, best contested marking team in the comp. So we just have to try and get it to ground, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What do you think? What's your key to the game, Tony?
Oh, look, it's interesting. Obviously, Koch and there's a few of the players obviously that played in those 3 elimination finals that didn't play to their potential. to and Koch would be one of those. He'd be the first to probably admit that. So obviously it's important. It's obviously very important for us as a team, but for his confidence as well that he produces his best form, and I really believe that he will. I think he'll really stand up and lead from the front. And there's a few others. I think Shane Edwards has been pretty quiet in the 3 finals, and a few of our other experienced players that we rely on probably haven't produced their best in those finals. So I think that that they will respond this time.
Do you think the fact that it's not a sudden death final?
Oh, probably just.
I think the mindset will be
even
a little
just
bit
subconsciously.
different.
You think that I mean the rewards are huge, but it's not obviously
it's a
do or die.
It's
So
probably a little bit different.
Different mindset and everything. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how those experienced quality leaders respond.
Scones, what's happening over there, Scones? He's not happy about something. He's
Yeah.
just passing over the phone. We've got a message from someone here. My key to the game, while Scones passes that over, I think it's pretty simple. Geelong are a great contested ball team. They beat us by +18 down at Geelong. We nearly won that game. We weren't far off in that game, but that's a big loss in contested footy. I think if we can break even
Match
in
them there.
contested footy and get first use, I think we've got a bit of speed underfoot. Then I think we can do some damage. So I'd just love to see that even.
That's a good
That's
point.
good point.
What Sconzi he just got an email from LinkedIn saying that the chief is celebrating his 8-year work anniversary here at the club. Even LinkedIn are sending out emails on behalf.
Serious?
Anyway, back to the game.
Extraordinary.
Sorry, just to cut. So Chief is celebrating his 8-year work anniversary. We should be talking about the team.
No,
Come
it's
on,
all
Chief.
about him. It's all about him.
Well, if we go back to the game that was, what was it, round 21 down there, they really, the second quarter hurt us, but then they restricted our scoring from turnovers.
Yeah.
So I think the forward pressure that we've been noted for this year, we need to bring that and cause turnovers and then hit them the other way in scoring, because I think that was the difference when you looked at the scoreboard last time out. Our inability to do that hurt us. So if we can get that right again on the MCG, I'll touch on it a bit later in the yellow and blackers, but I think that'll go a long way for us.
That extra space is going to help us. I
Yeah,
think.
it is. I mean, it's hard to get through at Geelong, and that was obvious last time. Their halfbacks, dominating the air, Henderson and Lonergan and those guys. So a bit more width in the ground. Hopefully we can find space and use our speed to get through. That'll be a key as well. I guess the other thing, looking at the game, is selection. Is there going to be any changes?
Well,
you'd be stiff to get left out, wouldn't
Well,
you?
it's true. There's a
There'll
few
be a
options,
bit one.
JB, aren't there?
Well, yeah, we'll talk to Lou when he's in about the VFL, but Caddy, you would think, would 100% come in. So
It seems likely now, doesn't it?
well,
expect
he says he's fit and
Been pretty important throughout the season, so you expect that he would play.
Yeah. Oh, I think Caddy will come in, so there's going to be an unlucky
Someone will
player.
be unlucky. Someone will be unlucky. No
And
doubt about that.
there's players putting their hand up. Lou's about to come in. We're going to give him a call, actually. He just text. He was on the text before. He's stuck,
He's just
Lou.
in a restaurant,
So we'll get on to Lou in a minute. So, all right.
Cafe.
We'll talk about that with Lou, who put their hand up. But before that, let's put some top 10 time.
Well, this week, so you'll be very happy this week. So I'm going with my top 10 Tiger Finals performers, but I'm actually counting them down.
Oh, are you?
I'm actually going to count down from 10 to 1. All
So
right?
this is your top 10,
This is my top
not
10
in
Tiger
alphabetical
Finals
order.
performers, not in alphabetical or chronological
Oh,
order.
good. Something
okay,
different.
in the 52 years or whatever that I've been watching us play. So coming in at number 10 is a former Essendon player, is Paul Sproul. Now, Sproul only had 4 seasons, had a massive impact. So he played 13 finals here. He averaged 18.5 disposals per final, kicked 13 goals. He was just a fantastic finals player, Paul Sproul. Midfielder, really important roles that he played in the 73-74 premiership. So he comes in at number 10.
Yep.
Number 9 is our own Barmy, Neil Barm. People just think, when they think Richmond finals and Barmy, they think 73 grand final against Scone when he went on the rampage and,
It's
knocked
actually
out.
doing him a disservice,
It
isn't
is doing him a total disservice. Played 16 finals, kicked 30 goals, averaged 12.4 disposals.
What was his biggest haul of goals in the
actually-
final?
5. He
5.
kicked 5 several times. He actually kicked 5 in that 73 preliminary final where we came back from 6 goals down. And Royce, Royce came on at half time, which we'll talk about later. But Barmy kicked 5 in that game. He kicked 5 in the year before in the 72 grand final. In his last final against North Melbourne in 77, when he was playing as the number one ruckman, had 34 disposals.
Yeah.
He was a really, really good finals player. Number 8, Michael Green. Greeny played 15 finals. He absolutely dominated. So he actually played in the 67 grand final, sat on the bench the whole game. 2 years later, in the 69 final series, dominated. Was best on ground in the 3 finals. Then he retired at the end of the 72 season.
Yep.
And in 72, didn't play in 72, and then came back in 73, 74, and then 75. Really important player in those finals, just with his ruck dominance. Number 7, Barry Richardson, 12 finals. Bones Richardson averaged 2.4 goals per final, but he also played full back in the 69 premiership side, was sort of ruck rover and half forward, changing with the All-Man in 67.
So 2.4 is a good average considering
fantastic that he played full back as well.
Yeah.
And then in the 74 grand final, kicked 5 goals. I think 4 of them in the last quarter. So really, really good. Number 6, Dick Clay. A bit similar to Bones. Played on the wing in the 67 and 69 finals campaigns, premiership sides. And then later on went full back in 73, 74. 20 finals all up. 12.7 disposals per game. Fantastic as a wingman and a full back. Coming in at number 5 now, Billy Barrett, the great Billy, sadly passed away late last year. Billy only played 5 finals, right, but was arguably best on ground in every one of them, including 2 grand finals.
If you
dominant.
If you went back and gave Norm Smiths, he'd probably be a 2-time Norm Smith.
Probably. So even though he only played 5 finals, I had to get him in number 5. He averaged 24.9 disposals in those games. He was just an enormous big occasion player and just revelled on the MCG in finals. Coming in number 4 is Francis Burke, 23 finals. Averaged 17.6 disposals per final. And again, wingman in 67 and 69, then went and played on the back line for the other 3 premierships. Just thrived on the big occasion. Terrific player. Number 3, Kevin Sheedy. 20 finals, 18.1 disposals, back pocket in 69, great player. Then went as an on-baller, kicked the first 3 goals in the 73 grand final, and was a terrific finals player. Just great, just generated a lot of drive from as a ruck rover when he went there after being a back pocket. Coming at number 2 is the great Royce Desmond Hart.
2?
Coming at number 2, it was hard. It was hard to have him. I know. 19 finals, 41 goals. Of course, that's 73 when he was in the preliminary on one leg. Came on after half time, kicked 2 and lifted the team and everything fantastic. But no, he only comes in at number 2 because number 1... can't go past him. The great Kevin Bartlett, 27 finals. He averaged 21.7 disposals, kicked 62 goals, 2.2 goals he averaged. Won the Norm Smith in 1980. Kicked 21 goals in that final series and was arguably in the best 2 or 3 in virtually every final he played. Was an unbelievable finals player and arguably the greatest finals player of all time.
Yeah, can't disagree with that list. You know the one thing about that list? It's time to get some...
Yes, I agree.
It's time to add some new names to that list.
For sure.
And let's do it this September.
Yep, for sure.
Hey, I just want to give a quick... Can I take over a tweet here?
Absolutely.
You've taken over the whole show anyway, every show. So
this is actually our man Manfred, he's tweeted in.
I thought we were going to have a Manfred free show.
Yeah.
And
it's good. Good to bring him in.
No, he's got that need to be recognised, Manfred.
Yeah.
He's
chief-like.
He's insatiable. He's insatiable. He wants the mode of our inside 50 entries to change, and he's right. We talked about those marking targets. He wants us to lower our eyes and hit up leading targets.
Yep.
Now, did you know we take more marks inside 50 than any team?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yep,
We take 14 marks inside 50.
Yeah, that's good.
Our little bit. So although it's a small forward line, we actually mark the ball inside 50. So
For sure.
yeah, well done, Manfred.
No, he's done his homework.
He's all over it.
I might see if Manfred's got one of those jumpers so I
You'll
can
need-
borrow for Friday night.
Geez, you'll need it. It's going to be cold.
Dressed like you're going to the snow, Jane Bone said last night.
Did she?
Mm.
Okay, we will.
I think it was Jane Bone.
It's going to be cold down. It's going to be cold down on that boundary line.
Could have been Lavinia.
Yeah, could have been. Hey, what's your yellow and black, JB? Just because he's getting into his naughty mode
Yeah, we
again.
better cut him off.
not.
Well, a little bit similar to Manfred and what I spoke about before in creating turnovers. I reckon Dan Butler and George Castagna are our 2 rising star nominees for the year. I reckon they might combine for 5 goals.
Ooh, geez, that'll be very
And if they
handy,
do, we'll be very hard to beat from there. So without putting too much pressure on 2 kids in their first final, I reckon they'll be right for the picking. And just on George, he kicked a goal since his NAB Rising Star against the Gold Coast.
You think it's gone to his head?
No, not saying that at all.
Sorry, yeah.
In the first 3 rounds of the season, he had 3 goal assists. Then he had 1 goal assist from round 4 to 21.
Yeah.
In round 22 and 23, he had 4 goal assists.
So he's
still been important.
Scoreboard impact. He's still having scoreboard impact.
He's been handing a few off, but I reckon those 2 this week are going to be important. So.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No worries. What about you, Tone?
Well, I'm going for now. This obviously kid playing his first final. I'm going that he'll keep his spot in the side.
Yep.
Jack Graham, huge fan of his. I think he can get 20 plus disposals. I think he is made for finals, and I don't think he'll be overawed by the big occasion. And I just think he's hard running and his inside grunt work. I think he can get 20 plus touches and be a very important player.
He's had 18 tackles in his first 2 games.
Yep.
Average of 9.
He's a beauty.
So, and if he went by averages, and I know he only played 2 games, only Scott Selwood averaged more tackles.
Right. Well, if you go by averages, this man is...
Oh, yes, the man you're about to mention. If you go by averages.
Yeah, my boy.
Oh, your boy.
I claimed him a long time ago, Jacob Townsend. What a revelation he's been the last 2 weeks. So... I'm going with him to kick 2 goals.
So they have a disappointing game, in other words.
Yeah. No, 2 goals.
Well,
no,
given
but
what
listen,
he's averaged.
No, well, you can't expect that to continue.
Oh, okay, I'm only joking.
But I'm actually thinking Harry Taylor may end up going back at some point. And if he does, Townsend might go to him and nullify him. Okay? But he'll kick 2 goals.
So Townsend will nullify Taylor.
Yeah, if Taylor's back.
Okay.
Now, I can't control where Chris Scott plays Harry Taylor. Now, he might start forward. If he goes back, Towner would be a great matchup for him.
Yep.
Or he may even go to Lockie Henderson, who's a great intercept mark to cut that out. But he'll go to someone, whether it's Taylor or Henderson, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But that's my yellow and black book special.
I like it.
And have we got him on the line? Is he ready to go? All right, here he is.
Sharp. You're looking good. You've come so far. And we know how to make the most of who you are. To let the best of them together.
VFL report time, and what a great win it was down at Port Melbourne on Saturday afternoon against the Collingwood Football Club. The finals win for the Tigers in the VFL, and to cover that game, as always, it's the great Lou Gillette. And before, Lou, we get stuck into you and talk about the game, I just want to play a grab to you, mate.
Well, I've saved the most important question till last. Last year in 2016, we just missed out on finals. One of the big differences to the VFL program this year has been yours truly presenting the VFL review every week. Do you think the success here that's just down to coincidence, or surely not?
Oh, we value everyone's involved in our program, mate. So, yeah, you can take as much credit as you like.
I certainly will, Fly, as always.
Lou, please respond to that, mate. Are you claiming responsibility for the success of the VFL team?
Well, it's like I was saying, Richard. Look at the differences between the program this year and last year. I mean, surely not coincidence. I will say this though: the reason I threw that question in there, I was trying to get back at Pfeiffer when he sprung a sneaky question on me earlier in the year and called me flat-footed. But credit to him, he handled it pretty well, so I have to try it again this week.
Well, you'll be pleased to know, Lou, that the builders are actually at Punt Road now, just at the Swinburne Centre, widening the doors so you can fit your bonds in next time you walk into the joint, because, honestly, you are out of control.
It's a necessary adjustment, Greener.
Good stuff, Lou. All in good fun, but you are out of control. There's no doubt about that. Mate, as I said before, it was a great win. Who put their hand up for selection on Friday night?
Well, I think it's a bit of a case of the usual suspects, Richo. Anthony Miles, we're used to seeing him produce some uncanny performances in the VFL week in, week out, and this is certainly no exception. Finished with 37 disposals, which is just about par for the course for him. Just the one mark, 9 clearances, which really stood out for me. That could come really in handy against the Cats in this big game, I would have thought. 4 tackles and a goal as well, the crucial part of the game when Collingwood were really coming at us. So I'd say he's put his hand up against Sam Lloyd. We know he's had a couple of monster games in the past few weeks as well. Capped off this one with 36 touches and another crucial goal as well. The only thing that might cost him a little bit was inaccuracy. Kicked 1-4 for the day, so if he straightens up, he'd certainly be one I think to come in. And just a little mention as well to Corey Ellis, 26 touches. He's been producing some really good stuff the past couple of weeks. Added 5 marks, 4 clearances, 3 tackles. Really intense at every contest, and the opening goal of the day as well. So really well-rounded list from him, and I think they're probably the 3 that stood out for me as the ones who put their hands up for a bit of AFL action this week.
Now, I wouldn't mind talking about another couple of players that caught my eye watching the game, and one was Shea Bolton. I thought he's just, some of the stuff he does, is just electrifying. So I wouldn't mind your thoughts on him. And the other was Big Sean Hampson, about his fourth or fifth game back. He just dominated the centre bounces and took some good marks around the ground too.
Yeah, spot on there, Greenus. We'll start with Shea because I think, as you said, it was just so exciting every time he got near the ball. Finished with 12 disposals, but we always talk about it. What required of them is the impact that they have with it, and his 2 goals really highlighted that. So, I think the first one, he sold the dummy to about 2 or 3 defenders and then ended up snapping on the left foot over his shoulder and splitting the middle. And then he crumbs really cleverly to kick the first goal of the last quarter, which when you look at how close it was at the end of the day, turned out to be pretty pivotal. Now, the other one, Sean Hampson, we were talking about, was pretty convincing in the ruck all day, and that's not easy when you're coming up against the likes of Mason Cox and Jesse White rotating through there. He absolutely smashed him in, hit out 67 to 26, and 36 of those went to hammer, with 24 going to Ivan Maric as well. So, like I say, he's in, I think it's his fourth full match now. I think he came back for on limited game time a bit before that. His couple of contested marks show, like I've been saying week in, week out about him, he looks really comfortable in his body with that back injury that he's been nursing. So I think if the need comes for that big body, he's right in the firing line with how he's been performing lately.
What about Callum Moore, Lou? Not so much for senior selection, but with his 3 goals for whatever the VFL program has from here on in, it must have given him a massive boost in confidence.
He's mobile too, isn't he, Lou?
He's
very
good. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're bang on there, Richo. He moves around really well, and I thought Greeners might be a little bit excited by how well he played.
Yep.
He finished with 21 disposals, so for a big man to be able to move around that much, as you say, is a huge asset. 5 marks, which is another one of his great strengths. Applied 3 tackles and kicked 3 goals, which he ended up being the leading goal kicker for us for the day. I think the thing that really stood out to me about it was when after I interviewed Fly after the game and I asked him about Callum, he said, he just really looked like an AFL player in that game. He was coming up against a list of lots of players from Collingwood who have AFL experience, and he ended up coming up trumps. He had a really dominant game down there. So I think, as you say, perhaps not in the line for selection this week, but his past couple of weeks have just been fantastic. So really good signs from him.
I reckon another strong pre-season, and he could certainly play a bit of senior footy next year, and even could maybe that that sort of pinch hit second ruck role and forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've got to think he could maybe come the JLT series next year. We might see just a little bit more of Cal, which will be just reward because he's been performing fantastically at VFL level. So love to see him hit the big time.
Hey Lou, one player who hasn't played senior footy this year, Jake Batchelor, but gee, I reckon he's playing really good footy at VFL level. He's a real leader down there.
He absolutely is, Richard, and I think he's probably a bit unfortunate in the sense that...
Played one game, sorry, Lou, I mucked that up.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry, I think he did get a call up earlier in the year, but, as you say, he doesn't really put a foot out of place. Coming back, I think the thing that's working against him is that we've got a back 6 in the AFL who are really stable at the moment and playing some really great footy, but as you say, he's not really putting a foot out of line. Got the job on Cale Kirby, who, as we all know, is a pretty decent goal kicker at VFL level, and kept him to 1 goal, which I thought was a fantastic effort. And he even managed to wander forward towards the end of the game, and he kicked to the sealer that put us 2 goals clear with about a minute left on the clock. So he got it done at both ends, and even, I should say as well, managed to, I think, maybe pull a hammy or cramp up a bit in his celebration as well, which was pretty interesting seeing him getting up and about, but then have to drag himself from the ground, barely able to walk. So I think, like I say, he's been unlucky to not get as many opportunities as he has this year, but he's certainly a fantastic leader and has barely done anything wrong at VFL level.
Lou, what about Jaden Short? Obviously, he's played a fair bit of AFL football this season, but I thought he was pretty impressive too.
Yeah, absolutely. He finished as the 4th highest in disposals for us on the day, so he had 23 touches. Played a bit more through the midfield. We usually see him coming off half-back. That's where he does so much of his great stuff. But it was really great to see him use that really effective kicking that he's got under his belt. He has a really solid efficiency, and that was the case again with his 17 kicks. I think he only missed 1 or 2 by the end. And even got some contested possessions in there, which is great for him. A couple of really great marks and a few tackles and clearances as well. So while we're probably used to seeing him come off that half-back flank, I think that chance to run through the midfield with the likes of Anthony Miles and Corey Ellis is fantastic for his development. And he's certainly one who's maybe not, in the coming weeks or even for the rest of the season, but he's certainly producing some good stuff, and he's certainly not going anywhere as far as selection talk goes.
Very good, Lou. Now, a terrific win after being, fronted by Collingwood late in the game. We now move on and progress to the next round of finals. Where's that, mate?
So we're back at Thorburn Oval, 11:40pm on the Saturday against Casey this time. So they've just come off a pretty narrow loss to Williamstown. They stuck right with it until the 3rd quarter, but as we all know, Williamstown, one of the best sides in the VFL this year, and they just managed to breeze them away. So Casey, with a couple of those AFL listed players again that we'll have to deal with, will certainly be a tough challenge, but I think we can take a bit of solace in knowing that we beat them by a couple of goals early in the year out at Beaconsfield. So I promise it to be a fantastic game, and we'd like to see a crowd like the one at Collingwood get back down to Fort Byrd again to support the boys.
And just before you go, Lou, the VFL training session will be open this Friday prior to our qualifying final against Geelong. So the day before, as they ramp up for Saturday's game, VFL training will be open here at Punt Road Oval. Jack Dyer Bar will be open, and also a couple of food trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Just hope the taco truck's there. Hey?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, last time I was at Punt Road, they actually brought in a new hot dog kind of stand in there, so I was looking pretty enviously at that. So thanks for pointing that out, JB. I'll be all over it.
You could comfortably put half a dozen hot dogs down, Luke. Hey, mate, beautiful stuff as always. You've got to go. Get the Fred Astaire fixed up. We'll chat next week.
Thanks, guys.
Mate.
I saw her sitting in the rain.
Just before you get in, sitting in the rain, as I look outside, it is raining here. We're looking at the back of the Jack Dyer stand. Now, you mentioned Lavinia and Jane before. Don't forget Mike Larkin. You have a lot.
Well, he's the first.
You have a lot in common with Mike Larkin.
What is that?
Bad jokes.
Bad jokes.
Well, not according to our Prez. The Prez loved him last week.
Yeah, good feedback.
Very good. We'll
Mike
get to those gags.
Mike had a stinking joke last night
Did
on the
he?
weather. I watched his weather because I'm really concerned about the weather this Friday.
What?
And Mike,
It won't affect Zoe.
No, Mike, I know, but Mike, Lavinia, and Jane, all the weather people.
Yeah, dressed like it's the snow.
Well, they've all predicted it's going to be wet for the next few days.
Fair enough. That's all right. All right. Well, of course, as we flash back to '67, the 50-year anniversary of our drought-breaking premiership, and this Saturday's 50 years to the day on Saturday since we played Carlton in the second semi-final. Now, we finished on top. We had the best offence or attack in the comp at the time, and Carlton second had the best defence, not defence. And we had not played a final. We hadn't played a final for 20 years, so not one player in the team that we took into that second semi against Carlton had finals experience.
Not one.
Not a one.
So we won a grand final with not one player that had played in a final.
Coming into that final series. Yep.
So you don't necessarily need to have had a lot of experience.
Exactly. So it was obviously a massive game. And the star of the show for the Tigers was Royce Hart. Teenage Royce, 19-year-old, first final, of course. He kicked 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. He was playing on Wes Lofts, very experienced Carlton fullback. Lofts had been under a injury cloud throughout the week. And anyway, did line up, and Royce had 2 in 2 minutes and went on. He ended up kicking 6 goals. Just really was the catalyst.
6 goals as a 19-year-old.
6 goals in his first final, and he was the catalyst behind our 40-point win.
Do you reckon that's a record for a teenager in a final? It wouldn't be, would it?
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not sure.
Remember Dermott kicked 4 or 5.
Kicked 5 in his first final. Actually, in his first game, which was in a final.
I reckon that might be close to a record.
Yeah. Anyway, huge crowd, 99,051, which was a record for a second semi-final.
Yeah.
So it'll be a similar, probably type crowd this Friday night. We won 20-21, 141 to 14-17, 101. Royce kicked 6, Mike Patterson 3, Billy Brown 3, Paddy Ganane 2, Sweeper Northey 2, Bones Richardson 2, Barrett and Bartlett. And the best players were Hart, Barrett, Bergen, Strang, Barry Richardson, Patterson, Swift, Mike Perry, and your old man played a very, very good game. Now, there was one obviously sad part of this game, and that is the infamous John Nichols Neville Crowe incident, which took place during the third quarter, where
do you reckon
John Nichols Neville Crowe swung an open hand, which missed by probably
2 inches, 3 inches,
more than that probably, and Big Nick went down on the ground, and obviously it was reported, and subsequently went to the tribunal, suspended for 4 matches, missed the grand final, and never played another game, Crowe. And obviously, if video evidence had been in then in those days, he would have been cleared within a minute.
Did they ever clear the air on that?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think, really, I think it haunted Crowe all the way through, It's just, it was really, really sad. So that was obviously a download of that, what was a great day for the Tigers, and advanced straight through to the grand final.
Beautiful. Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, sweet.
I will have to apologise to Peggy for delaying the jokes, but do you have a Stump Greeners answer
yeah. Now,
for
what
us?
was it again?
Who kicked our opening goal to this year's home and away season?
I have a feeling, right, that it was Dan Butler. No? Close? Was I close?
You were close.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was George.
Georgie.
So that was Brock Heaney. Send us through your details.
At
done.
Talking Tigers at richmondfc.com.au. We'll send you out a T-shirt. Righto, off you go.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to the library the other day and I asked the librarian where could I find books about religious women, right? And I was told in the non-fiction section. I also asked a Frenchman the other day. I bumped into this Frenchman the other day, and I asked him if he played video games. Yeah. He said oui.
I like that one. A Nintendo joke.
That's not bad.
A mate of mine told his wife that she was drawing her eyebrows too high. Yeah. She seemed surprised.
It's a good one.
Are you nervous, is what I am, JB?
Actually, that came up also on Open Mic about Betty's eyebrow.
Oh, he got split open.
Yeah, he explained all that. Never. This is just a word of advice. Never spell part backwards. It's a trap. Why do Swedish warships have barcodes on them?
Why?
So when they dock, they can Scandinavian in. Scandinavian. Yes. Scandinavian. Yeah. Okay.
You got to get your punchlines.
Yeah,
right.
no, I nearly had it right. What did one eye say to the other eye?
What?
Between you and me, something smells. and where do sharks go on holiday?
Where?
Finland.
Oh, you've gone with a lot of different countries today.
Yeah.
I've got a few emails from those countries.
Yeah. We've had emails from all those.
Hope Peggy liked those.
Oh, Peggy would have loved those. Say, Johnny P came in, gave me a little present for Zoe. Thanks, mate. And he's had a yellow and blacker for this week. He thinks Rance can kick a goal, running off Harry Taylor of Talios. Don't mind it. Huge game Friday night.
Yep.
Everyone is pumped. Can't wait for it. It's
Go
the
Tigers.
Tigers and the Cats. We'll be back next week.
Eat 'em alive.